In this edition of Talk Ship, we're reviewing our time on board Celebrity Silhouette. Celebrity Silhouette is a 4 Solstice class ship operated by Celebrity Cruises, a subsidiary of Royal Caribbean Group. She joined her sister ships Solstice, Equinox and Eclipse into service in 2011. Silhouette weighs in at 122,210 gross tonnes, and is 390 metres or 1,047 foot in length, and she has a capacity of 2,885 passengers and around 1,500 crew. We had previously sailed on the Celebrity Silhouette back in 2019 on a 3-night Amsterdam mini experience. Back then, we had a corner suite and she was due a refit, and she has since been revitalised since our last time on board. We were booked into Seaview Stateroom on this trip. We had an email to bid for a room upgrade to a balcony room, and we got a concierge category stateroom. As we have been loyal to Royal Caribbean, and with Celebrity being a sister brand, our Crown and Anchor status allows us to have Captain's Club Elite status whilst we're on board. Celebrity as a brand have changed to being all-inclusive, so with your cruise fare you get tips, surf Wi-Fi and a standard drinks package included. So let's dive in and have a look at some of the categories. In our Talk Ship review, we'll look at the stateroom, the dining options, entertainment, well-being, and then give an overall experience score. Each category will be scored out of 5, so let's dive in. Let's have a look at our stateroom accommodation. Our stateroom number was 9305 on deck 9, and it was known as a concierge balcony. We had read somewhere that the rooms were known as sunset balconies, and the room was right on the aft of the ship, and the sunrises and sunsets were just spectacular. Now, after the revitalisation, which mainly the carpet and some decor, the rooms still have a little bit of a dated sort of tired feel to them. Probably more because the furniture is still the same, so some of the drawers don't shut well. They could have been replaced. The lamps by the bed could have been replaced as well and had ones with USB ports in them. The only power sockets for the room are over on the credenza, and there was only 3 sockets, 2 American and 1 European. So the bed is quite large and it was quite comfy. The sofa also pulls out into a bed. Now the benefits of having a concierge category balcony meant that we could have a pillow menu. It had 4 choices. I do like a body pillow, so I did have one of those. But when it arrived, it wouldn't be what I would call a body pillow, but it would do, and the stowaways certainly enjoyed it because they used it to make pillow forts and obstacle courses. The bed is large and it was quite comfy, and there was a sofa by the balcony doors. The sofa pulled out to make another bed so it could sleep 3 or 4, although with the extra in the room, it may just feel a little bit cramped unless there were children. There's ample wardrobe space, just less drawer space. The balcony was a good size, and as our friends Chris and Ian were staying next door to us because they'd also upgraded, we opened the partition between the two to have a very large outdoor space. The bathroom was standard and had an upgraded shower head with 3 settings. The only thing missing was a retractable clothesline because it only had 2 hooks in the shower to dry your clothes. The room does benefit from canapes in the afternoon. We hardly ate them as we were either out of the room when they arrived, or they were taken away by the time we got back, or when we saw them they just didn't look appealing at all. We did ask a couple of times for cookies or cheese and biscuits instead, and we did get them and they were quite nice. They don't always have, as Americans call them, tea kettles in the room when the ship is doing its Caribbean run. They only appear for the UK market when the ships are based out of Southampton or sometimes in Europe. So we did ask for one. We got a kettle, but we got no cups or anything to go with it. So we did get some from the buffet, but we did have our own tea bags that we'd found in the Marshalls in Miami. So overall, a really nice room, and the room will score 4 stars out of 5. So the next thing we're going to look at is the food, beverages and the dining options. The food on most cruise ships is okay, and there's always a large selection of places that you can go to eat, some that are complimentary and others that are known as specialty dining, where you pay a surcharge per person to upgrade to eat in them. We normally look to book a specialty package if they have one on board. We didn't do it on the Silhouette. They only had one restaurant that we tried, which was when the Indian took over sushi on 5. I think that happened around about 3 times over the whole trip. The Indian food that we experienced that evening was lovely. When the food was delivered, it came family style, and my only concern with this is it didn't really ask about allergies, so if you think about allergies and contamination, that might not have happened for me or for somebody else in the group. With our elite status, we got a discount on the cover charge because it's one of the benefits. Had this not happened, I honestly don't think the experience was worth the full cover charge, which was around $40. The food in main dining was absolutely brilliant. They had a nice choice of dishes each evening, even for my beige palate. I can always find something to eat on the menu of an evening. So the benefit of having the concierge room is that you also can have lunch in the main dining room on embarkation day. The menus had classic dishes across each of the different courses every evening. The Mass Grill located in the mezzanine above the pool deck was a popular choice to eat during the day. It served burgers and hot dogs and soft serve ice cream, which changed daily from vanilla to strawberry to chocolate. For complimentary burgers, they were absolutely delicious. They did have some flavour, and I hasten to add they were much better than the Prime Minister burger I had on P&O Cruises Iona a few months back, and that one I had to pay extra for. The Ocean View Cafe, the self-service buffet on on board is really nice. At the moment, due to it still being under COVID restrictions, staff are still serving customers from the buffet. Since our last cruise on board, it had quite a revitalisation, especially colour-wise. There were some of those lovely high tables that they've got on all cruise lines at the moment, which I quite like. There wasn't any PowerPoints in the tables though, which is something that is lacking around the ship. The food across each course and every day was amazing in the Ocean View Cafe. It was also nicely decorated for Easter, and I loved the massive salad bar that had so much choice. It had probably been one of the best I've ever seen at sea. In terms of room service, we ordered this more for breakfast. There was a nice choice in the menu. The food always came hot. We did have the canapes delivered to the room in the afternoon as one of the benefits of our concierge class room. These really just let the rest of the food on board down. If I was a chef, I wouldn't let anything like that leave my kitchen. Everything that was served just looked so unappealing, and as I said before, there were days where we didn't even see it because we were out of the room and it was served and gone before we got back. As I'm not really a drinker, I can't really sort of say much on the drinks package, but I did like the fact that I could have mocktails in the world bar as I was sitting with my friends, so we did that most evenings. The boys would then have their cocktails and they paid a small amount to upgrade their drinks package to the next level, which covered all the drinks in the world bar apart from 3. In the main dining room, Alex, our sommelier, was really knowledgeable about all the wines and he paired with the meals, and I can't remember the boys complaining once about the choices of wines he paired with their meal for them. We had drinks in the world bar every evening before dinner, and Juliana and her colleague were so lovely. They always had a can of Coke and ice for me, then they would make me a mocktail, and most nights the boys would try my mocktail and then what they made with alcohol. We also had drinks in the martini bar and the Sky Lounge on occasions. There were all nice areas to sit and have a drink. Sometimes when sitting in a martini bar, the music would filter through from the atrium area and the different levels. It wasn't always a problem, but sometimes you could just hear it a bit louder than normal. The craft and social pub was great with its large selection of beers. They did different tasting experiences in here. One evening there was a whiskey tasting going on. It also had TV screens around the room and was playing most of the sporting events that you'd want to watch. On deck 5, the hot chocolates and Cafe Bacio were really great to have before going to bed. They also had some really nice cakes on display. It housed a gelato bar at the back, and we did get a free scoop with our room category, so we had it. It was delicious, but it was always busy of an evening for a nightcap. So overall, dining options will score 4 stars out of 5. Now let's look at entertainment. The Stateroom TV had a good choice of movies, as well as good TV shows on Prime 1 and the other small selection of channels. The large screen on Celebrity isn't by the pool though, it's up on the lawn club, and it was so totally underutilised. There was no deck chairs allowed in the lawn, there were cabanas around the outside, but the astronomical prices you had to pay for them was just not worth it. Staff got upset if you put a blanket or towel down on the lawn. Now every time I walked past, there was no one using it. Oh wait, I stand corrected. One day I did see some people playing croquet, and there was that time, okay, maybe twice. The large crane Stork-like bird had hitched a lift to watch the latest instalment of the Fast and Furious. We did watch the film The 355, but not in the Lawn Club, but down in Celebrity Central venue. It might have been good to maybe have a drinks trolley or some popcorn or hot dogs served close by. There wasn't anything like that. The nearest place was Cafe Bacio on deck 5, which was quite a walk away. The entertainment around the ship was like on any other cruise ship. You took part if you wanted to, and if you didn't bother with it. Some of it felt really staid, some of it felt quite dated, but as long as people were taking part and having a good time, what do I care? Chris and I went to watch the live production in the theatre. It looked good from the adverts on the Stateroom TV. It was good until one singer murdered a couple of the numbers. Now the guest acts were really great, but with similar sets over a 13-night cruise, it did become very same old, same old. So entertainment was quite weak, and especially with the underutilised space of the Lawn Club, and with the large screen TV being up on the Lawn Club, had it been by the pool, we could have watched movies whilst we lay out in the sun, or even enjoyed soaking in the hot tubs. Therefore, the score for entertainment is a very low 2 stars out of 5. In terms of wellness and well-being, the spa and fitness centre on board are extensive, and they're situated at the front of the ship just off the covered Celebrity area. The gym was well equipped with the latest fitness machines. We used a sauna in the changing room, which was nice and bijou. I sometimes prefer to use the showers in the changing rooms on board cruise ships, as they're much powerful than the ones in the staterooms. We were entitled to one complimentary use of the Persian garden on board, but only on port days, but due to the $40 charge and Bermuda not being the most exciting island to explore, it was really busy that day. There was no way I was going to miss the other ports on the trip. With Lisbon's stay cut short due to medical evacuation the day before, this meant that we couldn't use the Persian garden on the day. we didn't arrive into the port until very late that afternoon. The covered Arium's layer was lovely. It had a large swimming pool, a couple of hot tubs, and a lovely small cafe in the corner serving healthy food. We liked the toasted club sandwich from here, and the breakfast was nice too. So for wellness and well-being, the score is 4 stars out of 5. And our final category of overall experience. There are some amazing spaces on board Celebrity Silhouette, the library to the hideaway, one of my favourite places, the Sky Lounge to name a few. I enjoyed my mocktails in the well bar, but customer service on the ship is really hit or miss, and it's certainly not what you would expect from a brand that's associated with Royal Caribbean. I do like the Celebrity brand, and although the ship has been revitalised, the customer service needs a bit of that sparkle too. Pre-cruise experience was poor. Now I do understand that we're still going through a pandemic and having to get on with life with it creeping alongside, so staffing levels can be low. There's just far too many inconsistencies, and then I'm also being late with key bits of information around testing and the $40 charge for Bermuda. Now I do get that things change all the time, but you can still release things early and then make amendments in this case, because no news wasn't always going to be good news. Celebrity Cruises were asked on social media to remove Bermuda from the itinerary due to the unforeseen charge, but for them to take no notice of their customers and send out emails that were quite passive aggressive, telling you that if you didn't pay the charge for Bermuda, that you'd be turned away at Port Everglades and unable to cruise, and only stipulating this clause a week prior to travel was just so wrong. Especially as the Bermuda government's website was so shockingly awful to use, and they were clearly just out for your money. When it finally came to embarkation day, Celebrity didn't care if you didn't get the authorization, only that you had paid it and they'd got a receipt for that payment. With the customer service received from the check-in staff welcome party at the port, it dropped 4 stars straight away. Rude staff, and then Donna, I will keep asking you for the same information over and over again. I'll take 30 minutes to check one party in, where my colleagues are taking around 10. Just so slow and so annoying. I do think the Captain's Club benefits also need a little rethink, as there are some on there that have now been superseded by the all-inclusive price tag, and I know that you can't cater for everyone with these benefits. And not everyone on the cruise goes on to eat and drink themselves stupid, because there's so much more to cruising than those two things. And guest relations on board, they were not much better. The handling of the suitcase issue, the fact it took me 4 times across a 72-hour period to get it rectified, and I think had I not chased it, I don't think they would have ever gotten it resolved. This lost them the only star they had left at this point. I'm going to try and end on a positive note. There were staff like Juliana, Ruben, Romy and James. They were all examples of exemplar members of staff who went the extra mile and went above and beyond to live the values of the Celebrity brand, but it was just such a shame that their other colleagues let them down so badly. However, because of their experience, they make sure that we can pick up the star experience overall to 2.5 stars out of 5. So let's have a look at the overall scores for Celebrity Silhouette. So the stateroom scored 4 out of 5, food and beverages 4 out of 5, entertainment 2 out of 5, wellness 4 out of 5, and the overall experience 2.5 out of 5. That gives them a total score of 16.5 out of 25. Now please don't get me wrong, I would cruise with Celebrity again, because I know that people joke with me that I wouldn't like the ship because I enjoy activities and things to do, but I do also like my downtime where I can recharge as well. And we were booked on the Celebrity Apex back in April 2020, got cancelled. We did see Beyond come into port when we arrived back in Southampton, so maybe we'll be on one of the Edge classes in the near future. Now, as a like-minded cruiser or someone that's thinking of going a cruise for the first time, please remember that our opinion is based solely on this first-hand experience. Experience these things for yourself, and each experience will be different. There are ships that we have been on more than once, and each time we go on, we get a different experience. Our hope is that you enjoyed this edition of Talk Ship. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification, because that will advise you of when we post next. And we'll see you on board next time. Thanks for watching.